Lali-Ho, Free Enterprise fans! I'm Leggy Starscream, and I'm joined by Hupfen as we bring to you the Chaos Hades versus Sylverfyre race tonight. How you doing, Hupfen?
I'm doing all right. Your Lali-Ho is so much better than mine. Uh, we are looking at a potentially interesting race as we have these two in our 1-0 tier in the Swiss round. So both of them hoping to continue their undefeated streak, and starting off with a Rosa in the process.
Yeah, Rosa's an interesting start because obviously she is a great character to have throughout the entire seed, though depending on who our other starting character is, this could be a bit of a rocky start to the seed, because while Rosa is a fantastic support character, bringing a lot of light magic, and can be a really good physical fighter as well if you find her the right bows and maybe a heroine robe, with the way that the Lali-Ho has starting characters off with C. Nikki, she's going to start with a kind of middling weapon and nothing else, which might put a hamper on how much damage our runners are able to put out right away.
Absolutely. It's not going to be an issue if you're paired with, say, a Kane or even Dark Knight. Cecil will hold you over a little bit early on. But yeah, if you're leaning on Rosa for early game damage in this flag set, you're having some difficulty.
Or, you pull like a pack of samurai arrows out of somewhere and you start with a reasonable bow or something.
Oh yeah, then you don't care.
Yeah. But yeah, looks like our other objectives, we have 3 fixed and 2 randomized. Our 2 random ones are defeating the Dragon of Mists and finding a Lunarian mage. So that's always exciting.
And does look like we have things rolling up. We see Sid is our supporting character. We just get a sword off the CPU. So no real key item to start things off.
Yeah, though the Sid is really nice. He is a massive stack of hit points. And that Dwarf Axe we start with, while it does more famously feature as like an agility anchor setup, is the worst weapon to have right away.
Yeah, he is. This Sid is going to be set up as like that classic bruiser that you would see in like a gauntlet game, whereas like he's slow but he'll hurt.
Yeah.
Until we get better characters who can hurt and not be slow.
But yeah, Sid is a fantastic starting character, and I imagine our runners will be taking these 2 characters all the way into that Z fight.
Yep, as Chaos Hades heading over to the Watery Pass, we do have the treasure skewed so that a lonely location like this, where there's not really anything else to do, is going to give slightly better gear on the average.
Sylverfyre, on the other hand, is opting to pop into the Baron Inn, finds either Elements or Rubicante having a conversation with another Sid. So that's going to be our second, which means we have one of 3 dupes on the table. Chat pointing out that if it was Elements, there would be another sprite there. Yeah, I always like to hedge my bets on those.
That is often the giveaway when it's possible to be a giveaway. There's plenty of boss locations where there's only a single sprite that will ever show up. This is one of those spots that you get 2, so you can tell. You can tell, for example, if that was a Baigen that Sylverfyre found taking a shower in the waterfall.
Yep. Chaos Hades has elected to go straight into Antlion Cave now, looting a couple of chests, not pulling anything of note, though that Elven bow is a really nice pickup.
Yeah, it is better than the starting bow that Rosa had, and especially for a mage.
Yeah, and especially against a mage as well.
Very true. We'll see what enemy is down here in the pit. Leviathan is not a mage, unfortunately. It's just a it's just a snack. It's just a noodle.
Sylverfyre pulling a Thunderclaw out of the Damsian treasury. That'll be nice if we find a claw user. Otherwise, some ice arrows, a pile of cash. Our runners are, filthy rich with rings.
Oh yeah, we start our runners off with 10 rune rings, and you don't have 10 characters ever in the party. And you can only wear one ring at a time for whatever reason. We'll not question it. So there's 5 that you could just sell no matter what.
Ooh, behind everyone's favorite King of Summons, Chaos Hades gets a Rock of the Earth. Odd because, Leviathan is the water snake.
Of course, and we found that rock in the earth, so perfect. Totally logical.
Yeah, though that does give access to a number of nice things. 2 occasionally rough boss fights. Oh, that was a Porum with Bahamut atop the mountain.
Yeah, normally I want Rydia with Bahamut because she can cast that, but Porum, we already have a strong white mage, so we don't have much initiative to be grabbing her.
Yeah. Chaos Hades is going to poke his nose over there, while Syl does do their dive down into the Antlion Cave. Syl does seem to be looting this a bit more thoroughly than Chaos Hades did, so we'll see if there's anything they pull that might give them the edge.
Yeah, Chaos completely ignored like the save room, all those side rooms, just immediately heading for the boss. So Sylverfyre does have that opportunity. They loot those other spots. This isn't a very heavily weighted area though, so I can understand not bothering.
Yeah, it looks like they're just grabbing those 2 extra chests all the way up on the left side of the top floor.
As Chaos Hades is going to do that damage race and try to knock down Bahamut in time to get a Porum.
I don't hate this play, especially this early on. Getting your party filled out with characters, no matter who they are, can be argued as the stronger play than being more picky. And of course, that little bit of extra experience that this Mom Bomb spot provides is also really helpful for a party that's trying to get off the ground.
Yeah, some of that basic utility spells, like, just your life 1, simple stuff like that. Your white mages don't start with that immediately. They even just a few levels, but that's still levels that you have to get.
Ooh, Chaos Hades decides to go check the rest of the mountain, gets rewarded with a life staff and a coffin and some fire armor.
Yeah, that life staff can save you in certain situations just because you can, cast life off of it, costs no MP. Depending on your party setup, you might be a little hurting for MP if you're leaning on Tella to do a whole lot of functional things, for example.
Indeed. It also gives a nice solid boost to the wielder's white magic stat, which is very useful, especially early on, to make sure that your Cure 1s and Cure 2s are healing the party up as much as you really want them to be.
Yeah, it's always a bit annoying when you do a cure spell and it doesn't really cure. It's kind of defeating the purpose.
Yeah, what do you mean? What do you mean that only did 30?
Well, it did cure technically. Cure 1. You want me to cure 1 HP, right? That's what it says on the box.
Look, I recognize that is the best kind of correct. But it looks like we're starting to see a bit more divergence from the runners. Sylverfyre electing to check the ch4osh shops, finds life potions, vampires, and star veils, all which are excellent. Whereas Chaos Hades seems very interested in the Fabul defense.
Yeah, so he gets to pick up some cabins, rather, as...
Yeah, and he has those Thor Rages there.
Yeah, didn't grab any, but those can come in handy. There are enough bosses that are weak to lightning that throw out Thor Rage, throw out anything like that, and you're good to go.
And depending on what our party composition is, if there's a nasty Kainazo somewhere, that could almost become required. There's a Zeus.
White Spear, Mute Dagger, Dragoon Armor, Ribbon. This is solid treasury. Solid treasury.
Yeah, Stardust Rod, Power Shirt. Yeah, that's a pretty solid treasury for just about any party composition.
Yeah, most of it is not usable right now, but it's solid nonetheless.
Yeah, like that Stardust Rod's gonna be great if we ever fight a Black Mage. There's plenty of heavy armor floating around once we get a few more heavy armor users, etc. But hey, do you like noodles?
I mean, I did just have ramen right before this, so...
Yeah, I've got a bowl of spaghetti in front of me.
There you go. I think we're sufficiently noodled out, and I think Chaos Hades will be knocking away this Ogopogo as quickly as possible.
Yeah, Ogopogo is one of those bosses you always love to see in a fairly reasonable early spot.
Yeah, I mean, it will knock half your HP down immediately, no matter where it is. So you want that little bit of healing just to be able to manage that, but otherwise, put it at a weak spot. You'll be very happy.
Indeed. Gets an Artemis bow for defending the wonderful city of Fabul. That's actually a really nice pickup for that Rosa in particular.
Yeah, it gives boost to every stat except your magic stats. It actually drains those down a bit. I'd love to give that to an Eddie or a Sid. Completely offset the negative there, but if you are going to go with a Battle Rosa or, Battle Porm, any white mage turned aggressive, it is great gear to have.
Yep. Looks like Syl is gearing up their Sid in preparation of going into the fight we just watched Chaos Hades come out of, as he decides now's the time to go raid that... Oh, wait, that's the last tournament's name.
I mean, if you're not careful, Alzel is gonna just play that clip over us no matter what time the run is at. We're just gonna be we're gonna be on the moon, and we're just gonna hear "Rate That Treasury" in the background. But nonetheless, thank you again also to Alzel, who is handling the restream, and Xenocat, who is taking care of tracking this race this evening.
Alisail in chat, and then my OBS crashes. But yes, big shout outs to the less, I'd say visible, but I think the appropriate term here is audible members of tonight's restream team. It's always nice when Ogopogo punches for one.
Yeah, you'll love to see it.
You really do.
So Sylverfyre is through with their Ogo fight, going to get their Artemis bow, and we'll see where they decide to head. Chaos Hades kind of avoiding the Tower of Zot right now. That is the logical direction from the Earth Crystal, but there's other things you can go and do. You can do that Baron Inn, you can climb Mount Ordeals.
Yeah, and the Tower of Zot does represent a significant step up in difficulty compared to the other spots available to our runners.
Mm-hmm. Good reason to avoid it for the time being. Going and face checking these kind of lonely bosses, looking for that D-Mist.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the Mist Cave boss yet. And
it's a freebie.
Always unfortunate.
Yep, that's if Ogo at Fabul is sufficiently free, Evelyn royalty is always free, and so you want it in the worst possible location instead of an easy one, which actually makes it the worst. So maybe I should have chosen better words.
Yeah, looks like both of our runners at this point are converging on the Baronin.
Now, this first round, nothing to worry about. One shot on both sides. It's the second fight that you're actually concerned about.
Yeah.
We see this blue robe that ends up being the gauntlet.
Okay, that's... I forget how bad the physical attacks are here, so I don't have a good read offhand how bad Water Hag's punches would be for this party.
This is the karate fight in vanilla, so it is designed to be a bit punchy. So I would actually prefer this for as sluggish as it can be. If you've got, we see Sylverfyre queuing up a Boreas. If you got things that handle AoE, you can just sweep through these waves, no problem.
Yes, and Xenocat also reminding us that having the gauntlet here does mean you'll get XP for this spot.
It's very true. This is normally a boss fight that does not grant any, but with the gauntlet being in a spot, that overrides any boss definition of that spot. So like these fights are as they are as random encounters. They're not made any harder or any easier.
Yep.
Now the real question is, how did all these fish get in here?
Look, it was sushi night. At the inn, I don't know what to tell you. I'm gonna blame the magic of the crystals because apparently that's the explanation for everything in Final Fantasies.
I mean, I can't argue that. Yeah, you can't argue with some of the results that we're seeing on just having this XP. Porums like learning Exit, learning Berserk. This is actually a very good situation for Chaos Hades to be in, getting all of that XP.
Yeah, though I do have one question for you.
Okay.
Given how easy these fights are going, do you think these fish are in barrels?
That would explain how we've managed to compress so many into a single tile in the overworld. Barrel pots, those only take there's a barrel right there. If you look at the screen, it's right above where they're fighting. That's where all the fish were.
So I guess that's just what we're doing. We're shooting the fish in the barrel.
If you're using arrows, yes. I don't think hitting things with a life staff qualifies as shooting them. That's more of a thwack.
Yeah, that's fair. But Syl is through a little bit faster. Does get their hook for their trouble.
So at this point, there is a fair chance that is the route underground. Not a guarantee. We still have enough things to do on the surface, but runners are probably going to start thinking, what are we facing there, and what character might we find?
Yeah, I know that I personally, as a runner of this tournament, do love just going and checking that hook route right away. Between getting the free character, getting the knowledge of who's at the Rubicante spot, and also just the fairly decent loot you get from the chests in the Emblem Cave.
Absolutely. There is one trap chest for each segment, I guess, of the route all the way down to the Rubicante spot, and because there are trap chests, the treasure there is going to be a little bit better again. So you can end up finding anything up to tier 6 at that point, if your luck holds out.
Yep. Syl stopping into Kaipo, gonna do some quick shopping. Does find lit arrows for sale, as well as white arrows. Oh, and an earth hammer.
Yeah, but getting rid of that Thunderclaw, little bit of disrespect to Yang. That is one of the best things you can have for him, but he hasn't shown up, so.
Yeah, look, if he wanted respect, he'd show up in the seed.
And early, so we can get a lot of levels for him.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of showing up early to be useful, there's Rydia in the bed.
I mean, can you blame her?
Yeah. It's, sometimes you just have a week, and you just need to sleep away the Saturday.
Yep. Sylph Summon's for sale here, so if that Sand Ruby is, like, on top of ordeals, you can get that Rydia online pretty quickly.
Yeah, though honestly, with this party, if I'm grabbing Iridia, I'm grabbing her for the black magic and for the offensive summons more than for self. I've kind of got healing covered. I would want a Leviathan, a Bahamut, something more along those lines.
Oh yeah, no, I'm. Oh hey, there was a Boreas in that chest in.
Yeah, that must be where it came from.
Syl electing to just run straight in. I don't think they have a source of exit. But they do have a source of grinding with those sirens for sale.
And that's the other great piece of this equation. The Eblin Cave shops, they are gated shops. So again, those are going to be weighted in many flag sets, including this one. And we've seen sirens and coffins there in particular quite a lot over the last 2 weeks. We're going to see a vanilla edge.
My favorite white guy rapper.
Oh, I can't touch this.
No, that was MC Hammer.
I know, but I had no other joke. And like, I got nothing.
Anyway, that is actually a really fantastic pickup here. Looks like Chaos Hades is electing to go up to the Tower of Zot.
But more importantly, that edge, we have raided the treasury, and we got some ninja gear in the process. So that edge is actually going to be well kitted.
I think that was at least 2 ninja swords. Yeah, 2 ninja swords and a mute knife. So those are going to be some fantastic offensive options for this ninja.
Yep, plus the ninja robes. We've gotten plenty of gauntlets and rings that Edge could use to just kind of round him out. He's going to be good physical damage for a while.
Syl taking that Zoot gauntlet directly off the dwarf and throwing another ninja hat on the Edge.
As Chaos Hades finds Objective 4 up the Tower of Zot.
And that is Demystic Magus Sisters. Sadly not required as our underground access, but you love to see it.
Yep, this could have been incredibly cheeky if that hook wasn't available. And it very well could give us the Magma Key, which might nudge Chaos Hades away from picking up that edge.
Yeah. And of course, neither of our runners have checked the top of Mount Ordeals, which makes sense. We haven't seen a Paladin, or I guess a Dark Knight at this point. We haven't seen a Tella, and we haven't seen a Fusoya who benefits from the 3 boss fights up there.
Yep, I mean, we know we'll see a Fusoya somewhere. This flag set does limit us to 10 characters, so 2 of them are just not going to be around. But Fu being an objective, he's somewhere. Will it be early enough that we care about Ordeals? We don't know, but he's somewhere.
And of course, Demist is one of our objectives for the seed, so this is definitely a heavy sigh of relief for both of our runners, because Demist also gates a key item, And if it was somewhere trolly, like, I don't know, the back of the giant.
Mm-hmm. That's that you're doing the other 4 objectives, you hope, if that's the situation.
Yes. Now, of course, we could have Fusoya's only location be at the back of the giant. Of our 10 characters in the seed, only 3 of them are going to appear twice, and it is by no means guaranteed that an objective character has a duplicate.
Yep, there are 10 characters and 13 spots, so there is some duplication. At this point, though, if that's our only foo, we've defined our objective set. We're doing the first 4, because our runners are avoiding the giant as much as possible, thanks to that vanilla giant setup. And speaking of vanilla, here's Kane.
Yep. So that's going to be really nice in case we find
Speaking of vanilla,
anywhere. Vanilla Zot characters, you love to see it.
So yeah, that is 3 character locations that have been completely vanilla thus far.
Okay, I have to ask, how much do you want to bet that we get Vanilla Foo?
I mean, there's a fair enough chance. I think our runners would actually really appreciate that, because that's a pretty easy and clean check to make. I still want Giant Foo, but yeah, we'll take Vanilla Foo.
And of course, when you say Giant Foo, now I'm just imagining Fusoya, but he's like 50 feet tall.
Yeah, a very, very large Lunarian.
For better or worse, the second boss here is another pale dragon.
Yep, so this should be really a pretty straightforward fight. The Valveless spot not terribly punchy.
And with both of our white mages having access to Berserk at this point for Chaos Hades, getting the team zerked up and just meleeing down the Pale Dim as quickly as you can tends to be a fairly viable option.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of those slow counters, and that's unfortunate, but it's just time lost. It's not really dangerous. And I will point out, since it was asked in chat, we do not get a spoiler log of the characters in the credits. We only get the items. So if we don't see Fu, and we have multiple outstanding character checks, we're just never going to know.
Yep. And Chaos Hades is the first to get through the Pale Dim, and we're going to find out what key item awaits him momentarily.
Yep, both for completing the tower and for doing that Demus fight. And even if they're both whiffs, hey, Rosa knows exit now, so that's cool.
Yeah. Also, Syl has decided to, with that white spear they looted from Cave Evelyn, take the Jumpy Boy. So currently the big difference between the two parties is Chaos Hades has the extra white mage over the extra. That's a darkness crystal.
That is a darkness crystal, yep.
Well, I guess we'll figure out whether or not we have Vanilla Foo sooner rather than later.
I mean, how does Chaos Hades feel about his party is what it's going to come down to. How does Sylverfyre feel about their party, you know? Do we need a new character? Do we need that information? Or can we wait a while?
Yeah, there's some pros and cons at this point. Unfortunately, the Mist Dragon only offers a moon veil. Hint, hint. About what my choice is. But you are looking for the character check for the objective. And really the question is, how do you feel about a party that lacks a solid black mage?
Yeah, there are plenty of approaches to Zeromus that work perfectly fine with no black mage, but being able to bounce nukes for 6, 7, 8,000 a pop, you like that composition better.
Yeah. And I guess for me, I'm not even thinking about Zeromus. There's plenty of bosses that in the right place could be nasty if all you have are physical fighters, such as an antlion in the wrong spot.
Very true. Very true. I also noticed Chaos Hades doing a bit of shopping. He very nearly sold the ninja robes, but backed off at the last moment. Is about to realize that could be to his advantage.
Yeah, and Xenocat in chat pointing out that dancing dolls could also be annoying. So, like, while I don't disagree that both of our runners have parties that are very well tooled for killing Zeromus, for better and worse, Zeromus is not the only thing left in their way.
But either way, as we're seeing on Chaos's screen, we've been talking about Edge as the important part of this scene. The boss in the Rubicante spot was also information that we got, and we know it is either the soldiers or the guards. Either way, it's one of the freer fights, so this may not be that bad of a path to the underworld.
Yep. And we know that Chaos Hades pulled a coffin earlier. So that means that we definitely have a way to cheese half the fight or the entire fight, depending.
But I see Sylverfyre is heading to Mysidia. They are going to go to the moon right quick.
Yeah. And even if Syl doesn't go all the way up to the moon, you're probably going to have to raise the Lunar Whale regardless in this particular flag set. With the way that a lot of the objectives and key items get distributed, Moon can be haunted, but in my experience, it feels a little less so than a lot of other flag sets.
I guess the moon is everybody's plan at this point.
Yep. Both of our runners have access to sirens, and depending on what other tools they have in their kit, there are some really, really solid grind options up here as well. Also, hi, Free Enterprise.
Yes, welcome. Welcome, folks. As we are just over a half hour in, both of our runners have completed the Defeat Demist objective that was at the Magus Sisters spot. Absolutely beautiful. But we already had the Earth Crystal, so it actually wasn't that hilarious or scary or anything. It's very, very straightforward.
We also had the hook at that point, which could have been a bit spicy.
Yep, we have found good resources and good information out of that hook, though. So we're actually I probably not feeling too bad about this party and about this race so far.
Yeah, our edges are fairly well geared out. We've found enough heavy armor to have our Sids take hits. We've got some decent bows, but also some decent staves for your complement of white mages.
And we have a bard on the moon. What's not to love?
Eddie was so tired of being Spoony, he decided to become Moony.
Well, Syl wants none of that, clearly.
I do not blame them. So they are going back in right quick.
Yeah, I suppose checking for some more free bosses down in here, just hoping you can get a little bit of an advantage. But we have already seen a few really free bosses, so the odds reduce.
Yep. Sadly, we had a King and Queen Evelyn in the Mist Cave earlier.
Yep, and one of the guard-based fights is at the Rubicante spot, so that is out of the picture as well. We do have the water hag that is still lying around. Not entirely free, but with enough speed, you can get 3 hits in before your entire party's dead.
And it looks like Syl is set up to do a bit of a Warlock grind.
I like this approach. You do want that early XP. You don't want to do something major before you have 10 key items. Chaos, I think, is planning to do much the same thing. If you have that mute bell in hand or just a mute caster, this fight becomes pretty cheap, if not completely free.
Yeah, I saw a single mute bell in Syl's inventory. I imagine Chaos Hades also found that.
Mm-hmm. And it definitely was found and not purchased. They only have the one, so I don't expect a long grind, but any fight on the moon is a lot of XP early on.
Indeed. Especially when you get your life glitches off, which looks like Syl is going to get at least 1 extra Warlock out of this.
Yep, oh. Chaos tried to do the same, but it was a little early.
Yeah. Been there.
Yeah, but this is where that mute knife that we found in the treasury is coming in handy.
Yep, so that's 4 Warlocks still from this fight. 5 now.
Mm-hmm. Chaos, if they get another one in, we'll have that same fortune. So this is a surprisingly even match.
Yeah, no. Both of our runners doing a very good job of getting this grind on. Still taking out both of their Sids to avoid getting extra XP on them.
Yeah, 86,000 experience. No boost, just those life glitches. That is beautiful. And Syl going right back at it.
Yeah, with Rosa in that first slot to get chosen first in the turn order, hopefully we'll be able to get that mute cast off before the Warlocks start having too much fun with their spell casting.
Yeah, and you do want to make sure that you wrap things up quickly enough. If I recall correctly, a lone Warlock will start punching.
I believe so. I do know that these friends can punch. I do not actually know the exact script they have.
Yeah, well, they clearly can cast strong enough spells as that has become a problem for Chaos Hades. That is a downed Rosa.
Yeah. So while our runners are warlocked to their screens trying to get this grind done.
Hey.
Yeah, that's Rosa all the way up to wall already.
Yeah, we basically saw the perfect kit for doing this specific grind. finding that mute knife, all those mute arrows, just really good gear for this in particular.
Yeah, and both of our runners are showing that they were able to recognize that and, just really leverage knowing that this grind was on the table.
Yeah, that has been a one of the big changes that has come this tournament from having, well, let's just overall from the flag set change. Folks are really disincentivized to do the D machine grind in the Giant. That might have looked like an option here. We don't quite have the party for it, but would have considered it. But now we have to consider other grinds, and this is one that can be very effective, as we're seeing.
Yeah, the change for those of you who aren't up and up on the latest free enterprise meta is that there is only one way out of the Giant now, and it is through two very nasty boss fights. The two at the very end there. You can't just dip in, do your grind, and then pop out the way you came in. So even if you go in and you get that grind unlocked super early, you might be stuck on those bosses for a while if they prove particularly nasty.
Yeah, it basically means that if you're going to grind on D machines, you have to grind hard enough to defeat the Giant bosses. And yeah, that can be harder than preparing for Zeromus in some situations.
Mm-hmm. Additionally, the EXP slingshot flag is turned off. So characters who join your party behind on experience do not get boosted experience because they're behind. Meaning that you are more incentivized to take a couple of different fights for your grind fight as opposed to one big, massive grind, which is what the D machine fight is good for.
But it looks like both of our runners have done enough grind for now. They are comfortable with where they are, and they are diving down to the lower depths of the subterrane. Likely to see a ribbon room first, if not, still very early. Trying to get the two key items out of that spot in hopefully an easy enough fight.
Indeed. Though there is still room for Chaos Hades to do a cheeky check of the Wyvern altar.
Which it looks like he's doing. Yep, he's going there. So little tiny bit of divergence. At this stage, like, these fights are all they're all going to be rude, or not rude, mostly depending on the boss that's here.
Yeah, all of these spots are comparable to each other, though each of the spots and individual bosses at the various spots do have their own pieces of nuance.
But it looks like our first check is going to be this ribbon room. One fight for 2 items, and it's a fight against Mylon Z. You really wish you had a Black Mage right now, particularly one who had high-level fire spells.
Right?
As Chaos finds... That's a bit of pain, I dare say.
Yep. Though with a little bit of healing, that Sid probably could survive, though not the way that Chaos Hades had that fight go. Unfortunately, did not have enough time to throw that cure potion before that third wave came out.
Yeah, this spot can be a bit fast. Anything here can be a bit too fast when you're at a higher battle speed.
Indeed. So goes down almost all the way down, just down to battle speed 5 to make sure that he has enough time to queue up all of the spells and healing that's going to... Porum survives with 1 HP. Holy heck.
That is... I'm doing the chef's kiss on that one. That is beautiful.
Oh, you unironically extremely love to see it. Ooh, Syl gets a rat tail and animate behind everyone's favorite Canadian flavored Mylon.
So that is 1/2 of one objective and some unknown fraction of objective. We have no idea what's behind the rat tail. It could be nothing.
But it is one more free check and one more item towards that 10 key item boost.
And that is Chaos Hades through the Dark Knight Cecil fight. Just barely, but gets through nonetheless.
Ooh,
and picks up Magma Key.
Well, hey, if you don't want to deal with that hook route.
I would rather deal with the hook route than that DKC.
That is fair. On the other side of the screen, we have Syl taking on the Octomammoth. This fight can be really scary because, as you can see, Octomammoth hits very hard. But now that we've got a few hits in, Octomammoth is slowing down, we've got some of our melee fighters berserked up, I think Syl has this one fairly heavily on lock.
Oh, definitely. The Octoman retains the script from the vanilla location that every couple of hits, loses some arms, gets a little slower. That makes the actual spot, the waterfall spot, very fast by default. But at other spots like this, you just get a really, really slow fight after a while.
Yep. And Chaos Hades poking his nose in to take on Mylon Zed.
And there's our other tail. So we have 2 tails on the moon. One of them is an objective all by its lonesome. So,
yep,
that's objective 3 covered.
And between the adamant rock and the pigtail, coming up to the moon here is hard required today, because that is 2 different objectives we've got the items for.
Yeah. So. Again, we are 45 minutes into the seed. Nobody's gone underground. We've come to the moon instead, and quite valuable as it turns out. So, sometimes the odd-sounding play is the correct one.
Yeah, the moon. The more and more I see it, and here's the original flavor of Mylon.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Syl is deciding that, Edge is basically a black mage.
I mean, he can, in a pinch, he can throw some fire around in a pinch.
Yeah, chat pointing out, so the entirety of Mount Ordeals came up to the moon.
Well, because our runners wouldn't go to Mount Ordeals. It had to come to them.
Now I'm just imagining, how in Super Metroid, if you save the animals, their ship follows yours in the final cutscene?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm just imagining that, but it's Mylon and friends.
No, I'm imagining the entire Mount Ordeals lifting off the Earth like it's the floating continent in FF6. But it just keeps going.
That's... Honestly, I like that image better. I'm accepting that as my new headcanon. And of course, the shrine on top of Mount Ordeals turns into, the cockpit for the mountain ship.
Yep. That's what all this shiny stuff is. It's technology.
Yep.
It's shiny technology. Chappie, they brought the Ultros goes where Ultros wants.
Yeah, don't tease the octopus kids.
But you can tease the Mylon all you want. He's just going to do lit 1, and these characters can handle that.
Occasionally he'll throw out a punch, but like the low frequency that those punches comes out means that the Rosa should be enough to mitigate, but Mylon goes down.
There's another boss clear, another key item, another good splash of experience for Sylverfyre, and a package.
Ooh. That could be valuable. Package.
If that's got a foo.
Yep. And Fusoya and Edge are interesting characters in the mix because they have to be in locations that are gated behind key items, which are, checks notes, most locations left at this point.
Yeah, I think all locations left at this point.
Yeah, honestly, and this flag said, I think it's just the inn and the top of Hobbs that don't count.
Yeah. Well, and I guess the starting characters. But you don't really think about it too much because there's so few that they can't be in. Chaos Hades appeared to have a little bit of trouble getting enough attacks in to slow Octomam down, so reset the fight, gonna tackle it again at a higher battle speed. Was still on, I guess, DKC standard times, 1 time zone off Wyvern standard time.
Yeah, Syl taking a quick nap before they go check out everyone's favorite member of the DK crew.
Yep, he's got style and a dark wave, which Sylverfyre wants none of.
Yep. We'll see if they decide to adjust things before going back in or decide, no, I am out.
Oh, well, removing that Avenger would be a good idea. The only reason DKC is ever considered free is you don't have to attack to clear the fight, and you actually are supposed to not attack. Avenger makes you attack.
Just a little.
Just a little vicious rampage. No big deal.
As a treat.
Yeah.
Nice. Cure 4 taking the entire team back up to full.
Yeah, and coming at this later than Chaos Hades means they have more HP on their party. Everyone except the Anchor Sid gets the XP.
And just this once, Rosa, everybody lives. Well, except Anchor Sid.
Well, yeah, but he's fulfilling his duty.
I mean, someone's got to tank the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at this point, I don't think our runners need to do the hook route anymore.
I mean, definitely not. They have the magma key. They're not looking for a boss. They got the character out of there. We're inches away from not having to go underground at all.
Right?
Yeah. If that rat tail, say, leads to the harp, and the package has foo, then that's a completely empty underworld.
Yeah, and there could also be the Baron check if either of our runners pulls the Baron key out of somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Chaos Hades pulling his pink tail, so that's his objective 3 on luck.
Yeah, Sylverfyre is going to finish up this subterrane, hitting up the highest elevation, the pale dim spot.
Hey, you know how they have all that wonderful mage fighting gear?
Yeah, this might be a bit good. A bit good to have around. You remember how you got Rosa high enough that she knows wall?
Yep.
And surprisingly, Ashura does not punch very hard here.
Unlike spots where the boss only uses magic and therefore has its attack stats maxed out due to a quirk of FF4's boss programming.
Mm-hmm.
This spot is the Pale Dim spot, and Pale Dim is a little punchy. So he's got what is, a reasonable attack stat.
Yeah, I mean, it still hurts Kane, but getting punched for 800 or so on the moon, at this level, like, that's still not a bad punch.
Oh, yeah, no. Like, these punches are definitely strong, but they are not, as ridiculous as you would see at, like, the Wyvern Altar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, and, everyone's got rune rings, so that helps resist Ashura's punches.
And with this wall up, Ashura will even heal some of those punches for you. How convenient.
One 1-800 Ashura life support. Chaos Hades is making more work of Bylon, while Syl is getting ready to go get ice cream.
Mm-mm-mm.
I mean, what else are you supposed to do with a spoon?
You can throw it if you're angry enough.
I mean, technically.
Listen, we've all been there, okay? We've all been there. We all understand what Edge is doing when he darts the spoon.
Well, but if you're angry enough, you're berserked and you can't use the throw command.
Listen, we're on the moon. We don't need logic.
That's why I hesitated before going full pedantic on you.
But no, we could have had a full spoony bard out of this moon. Edward on the DS and then the spoon at the pale dim spot. If we really wanted to do it, we could have done it. But with these parties, we didn't need to do that. We were fine.
Nope. All right. Syl not even bothering to peek, feeling very confident in their power, runs right up to Odin.
Yep, I believe I saw a half a dozen Thor Rages in that inventory.
I think they just realized they got rid of their Thunderclaw.
Yep, the young disrespect comes back. Comes back with a vengeance. But those lit arrows on that lower Sid, like I said, a bunch of Thor Rages. Odin is weak to lightning no matter where he is. See him in Cave Magnus, he's still weak to lightning.
So I do have a question about the Thunderclaw.
Go ahead.
If Syl had kept it in the hopes of finding a Yogg about this far into the seed, would you say that they were playing the Yang game?
No, I would say they're playing Free Enterprise, which I guess is the Yang game. That is what he's in. So I don't know. It'd be hard to disagree with that.
Yeah.
But now, as we see these lit arrows doing solid damage, that spoon was thrown to get a solid quad 9, and that is Odin down.
Yep.
Chaos Hades, meanwhile, about to pick up his own spoon for darting purposes.
And that is a great sword for someone else.
Yeah, nobody in this party's swinging around a sword that heavy. They, lightweight katanas are nothing.
Indeed.
Well, I guess Kane can swing around some meaningful swords, but, still.
Yeah, but
Crystal's very heavy.
Out of his hands. Yeah, you can't even throw this one. What's the point?
Yeah, why bother? Why bother? It's only the highest attack power for a normal weapon in the game. Why bother?
As Xenocat's pointing out, we haven't even been up ordeals yet. We don't even have a paladin.
This is true. This is somehow true. We are an hour in. We have the kit for 2 objectives. One of them's done. Halfway to a third. We might have a 4th. We don't know about the package. Nobody's gone to the ordeals. Nobody's gone underground. This is completely backwards for what I expect.
This is not your parents' free enterprise. Though it does look like Syl is going to open the gateway underground, deciding to play the odds. And I don't blame them. You're here, you might as well save yourself the transit time, open up the path underground. But we'll see what those tails turn into hopefully before they go dive it too deep. As Chaos Hades finishes up the fight for the spoon.
Yeah, and what a fight it was towards the end there. Sid swinging for 9k with arrows. I don't know what kind of bow he's holding. Those had to be mute arrows.
Right?
Oh, yeah, the Artemis bow would get you that power. Like I said when we first picked it up, it's great for Sid because he doesn't use magic. The thing has no downside.
Still poking their nose straight into Tamra, buying a case of the finest wine available. As Chaos Hades elects to fade Bahamut Cave, which, luckily for him, we know will not pay off.
Yep, all you're getting out of that is the XP, and I don't know, that spoon could almost be more valuable than the XP, depending on what fight you end up using it in.
Yep. Syl is electing to actually do their underground checks first, while Chaos Hades is going to rush down the objective and turn in both the tails. So let's see what that rat tail turns into.
It's the Luke key. It's sealed cave. It's underground.
That could be very good for Syl because, they are electing to go do the underground checks first. If that had been exactly the Twin Harp, Syl might have been a little in trouble there if it took them a little bit to get back to the trading.
Yeah, but that pink tail has been turned in, so Chaos Hades has objective 3 and a Masamune.
Which, is Edge's ultimate weapon.
Yeah, it's wonderful to get a Masamune off that pink tail when you have an edge in the party.
Indeed. Still gonna go down and check the Fey March bosses. I don't hate this with the power level of their party, but
I do hate the bosses there. That is a different kind of power couple. We are looking at a Valvolus and a Golbez.
I mean, you do have a fairly powerful cane at this point. So Val isn't the worst play here.
And that is a package foo.
Oh, that is Rydia burning down the town.
That's spicy. That's hot. I mean, it's literally burning, but it's also quite exciting.
Yeah. I'm sure Chaos Hades is super excited to see the foo here. That is another objective on lock. And one more thing, he does not have to worry about going forward. And of course, for all we know, this could be the only Fusoya in this seed.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, also for all we know, the other if there is another Fusoya, it could be, the back of Giant, and ain't no one going there.
Yeah, but as I'm looking at the tracker, Xenocat has been keeping up on. Sylverfyre did get that pan in the free check at the Fey March. There's 2 item checks in there. We are at this point looking for one of 2 items, the harp or the legend sword.
Yup. And I have to imagine that's what Syl's looking for down here. Just wanting to get that last item on lock before coming back up to the overworld and finishing things out. We'll see whether or not they decide to take the Golbez.
Yeah, that spot has pretty strong magic power, as I understand it, that being the Ashura fight. So it's also kind of fast.
Yeah.
If you can get your Star Veils up in time, though, you'll be able to handle it.
Chaos Hades is going to take on the freest Dr. Luge fight you've ever seen.
Yeah, so free he doesn't even get a chance to talk. That's a good Luge fight.
Right? You, quiet, stop.
They're trying to sleep. This is an inn. Have some respect.
I will use this mute knife if I have to.
Using a mute knife to shut up the chatty doctor.
Syl, unfortunately, does not get a key item for taking down the Valvalis, but does get a white shirt, which is incredible for that Rosa.
Yeah, that is your best option for your healer, bar none.
Oh, I think Syl is going to go for the Golbez. If that is a important key item, this could be a huge play, because we'll see how long it takes Chaos Hades to come down here and decide that these are bosses worth the time.
Oh, imagine if the harp is on ordeals. Whoever finds that first is going to be in go mode, probably feel behind.
Right? Of course, we still could find the Legend Sword somewhere else as well.
Oh, true.
Though, of course, for all we know, Twin Harp could have the Legend Sword.
Yeah, there's enough. Well, on the one hand, there's enough key items out in the play that there could be a good chain, a good rabbit hole. On the other hand, there's still a lot of checks we haven't done.
Yeah, we still have all of the Sylph Cave to check. We still have Chaos Hades going straight into Luca Cave. Well, Sealed Cave with the Luca key. You understand the confusion.
Oh, I do it all the time.
But Syl, with the Tiny Rosa, is able to get their walls up. And so Golbez is going to start hitting himself. Start hitting yourself. Start hitting yourself. So hopefully Golbez will do a good job of helping the party in their quest to defeat him.
I would say 2K out of a virus, 6K out of a lit 3. That's helping. You're helping. Good job, Golbez.
Yeah. Pat, pat, pat. As Chaos Hades continues to wind his way through the sealed cave.
Yeah, no asterisk pointing out in chat that both of our runners have done a pretty, oh, that's the twin harp. Oh boy.
Yeah, because that rat tail gave us the Luca key.
Yeah. And Chaos Hades got here through a pretty esoteric route. Sylverfyre took the same esoteric route, but I don't think either runner expects the other to have done that. So
yeah,
we're looking at Chaos Hades being like, I have gone to the moon way early. I'm following this all the way through. And if it's wrong, I've lost. But so far, it's been right.
Yeah. And I imagine Syl is like, okay, I want to run down these other key items before I go check the tails. Which I personally would have turned in that rat tail just to see what it was. Mm-hmm. But I do understand being like, okay, well, I went to the moon super early. My opponent might have just gone straight underground, not wanting to deal with the moon. And if they found things down here, that's bad.
Yeah, this has come down to like a routing match, almost more so than execution. And both of them have taken an interesting route that has largely paid off, and it's these little divergences that have just echoed.
Indeed.
But going to the moon in the first place was a brilliant play by both of them.
Yeah, recognizing that they had the grind and the gear to do a warlock grind, which they then both turned into full moon clears. Well, I guess Chaos Hades faded Bahamut. That's just a glass bucket from the Sylph.
So that we're hoping for Sheila to give the goods. That is 2 checks up there.
Yep. And if Sheila has exactly the Legend Sword, I think Syl's back in this. Otherwise, this might prove worrisome for Sylverfyre.
Yeah, that Legend Sword could easily be buried behind the Baron key, behind the Tower key, behind both, or it could be exposed right away. There's still so many things we haven't done.
Yep.
Oh, but that's a Baron key from the Sheila 1 check.
And from Sheila 2.
The pass. You don't hate to see it, and I don't think Chaos Hades is ever going to get that. But that's about a 5-minute save at best.
Which, every second counts at this point.
Oh, absolutely. So if you're Sylverfyre, do you start following that Baron key, or do you just turn in the tails now? Like,
I mean, I definitely it looks like Syl is going to be turning in those tails, which it's free checks at this point that you're looking for. Unfortunately, Syl did waste a fair bit of time running down those Feymarch bosses, because while they were good at fairly cheeky checks, neither of them were progression. And there's that Luca key, which we know leads to the Twin Harp.
Yeah, like I said, this has come down to a routing match, and I can't fault either runner for the routes they've taken. Going to the moon so early is kind of strange and impressive, but everything that's followed after that, even how they've diverged, like I understand all of this approach. It's just unfortunate for Sylverfyre that's not pointing them directly to the objectives.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you know, sometimes you make routing choices, and then the randomizer looks at you, chuckles a little, and says, "Oh, you poor fool, that's wrong."
Yep.
Even if, you know, in a vacuum, you sit down and run the math, and your choices are 100% correct.
But it looks like Syl is making the best of their decisions and heading towards Baron Castle. You know, following what you've picked up. You've got that Baron key, go use it.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Chaos Hades is heading towards King Magnus with that harp in hand. So we'll get to clear out Objective 1 in just a few minutes.
Of course, the other nice thing about fighting Fusoya so late is you don't have to worry about which spells he knows. He's already got all of them.
Yeah, early on, I think he's only got 6 or 9 spells if you get them immediately. But after a while, the answer of what spells Fu knows is yes.
Yeah. So here's the real question. If you're Sylverfyre, and you may or may not be feeling a little behind, depending on how you feel after those Feymarch fights, do you check the Odin spot before you check the main throne?
I think with these levels, I feel confident enough in taking that on. And probably behind enough that, yeah, no, I would go for it.
And of course, Syl completely disrespecting the Globe 199. It's the right call in my book.
Yes, but let's not disrespect the music coming up from Cave Magnus, as there's over 500 songs here. We have no idea what it's gonna, or over 200 songs rather. We have no idea what it's gonna be. Let's listen.
A very solid rendition of the FF7 airship team. Unfortunately for Silverfyre, they got a Masamune, which is, always nice to see for that edge. Not what they really wanted for here.
It is a legendary sword, but it is not the sword of legend. So fortunately, it has nudged them towards checking the package, which is going to get them the foo. So they do have this bit of information and objective completion.
Indeed. And I guess because Syl had yet to check this package spot, doing the regular Baron Throne first does make sense because that is the character check.
Yeah, absolutely true. Overall, not surprised that Syl has been, pushing a little bit more towards the character checks for that reason. Almost a little surprised they didn't go for Dwarf Castle even, but we are learning that that was a good decision to make.
Yep. Syl going to get their third objective on the marker soon, while Chaos Hades is going to be heading back up to the moon.
Yep, that wonderful orb of value that has just had all the keys to the kingdom, this seed. It's also where we're going to find our final boss, because that's where he always is.
Yeah. Right now, we know that if Syl decides to run down the Luca key, that will lead them to that final key item they need. But currently on the table, we have Keyless Tower, we have Dwarf Castle, and we still have the Odin Throne as well. So the question of where does Syl go next is probably on everyone's mind.
Yeah, you probably want to go for the fastest checks possible, which I would imagine would be Odin Throne. And unfortunately, that just means Sealed Cave is the slowest of the options. Maybe Keyless Tower is worse, but it's a hard competition. So that sort of mindset is going to nudge them away.
Yeah, like Sealed Cave does take a while to walk through, and so we really have to hope for Silverfire's sake that the Legend Sword is at one of these faster objectives on the table, as Chaos Hades is teleporting down from the Lunar Dais into the subterrane.
Oh, but nope, Syl is going to go and follow that Luca key, which is the right play ultimately.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Syl basically made the extra gamble to check the Fey March and the Pan before following the checks that Chaos Hades made, which could have paid dividends, but unfortunately, in this particular seed, did not.
So at this moment, we get to ask and answer the most important question in Free Enterprise. Which is worse, the Lunar Subterrane or Sealed Cave?
Sealed Cave 100% of the time. Lunar Subterrane has better treasure, has a number of different key item checks, and it doesn't have ropes that you can step on the first tile of and get sucked into an animation if you don't want to go down them.
This is all true.
But I think there's another question on everyone's mind.
Yeah, there are... Well, I said there are about 500 songs. That was misspeaking. There's 500 different sprites, different looks, different styles of Zeromus that we have available in this randomizer. And we like to pluck one for each seed and show them off to the community. So we are about to find out as soon as Chaos Hades winds his way through the subterrane. Whose butt are we going to kick?
Yep. Of course, the strategy for the Zeromus fight is probably going to be fairly straightforward. You get your punchy friends Angie, and you put down your controller, except when you need to cast Gear 4.
Yeah, it's a party, is what it is. Mainly for the party. I feel like Zeromus doesn't enjoy it as much, but we have fun here. And a Gur and an Erg, and we have one that I've seen before. I can never remember the name. Oh, this is oh. I remember what this one is.
Let's go, Golbez! Syl has taken down the Magus Sisters fight and is on their way out of the sealed cave with that twin harp in hand in officially go mode. Chat pointing out that we do officially have playable Golbez, if you're Zeromus.
Zeromus can play whatever he wants to play.
Right?
Just as long as he obeys the rules and gets that Big Bang nerfed when we tell him to.
Looks like this Zeromus fight is going to be fairly textbook.
Yep, we have found plenty of things for that edge to dart, and dart he shall, as Sid and Kane are just going to be zerked and swinging.
Stabby justice!
Well, it's a little bit of stabby justice, a little bit of arrow justice. We're getting there right quick.
I mean, arrows are just little stabbies.
That is literally how I remember which hand to equip the arrows and which hand to equip the bow in. Your dominant hand holds the stabby thing.
Honestly, that is an excellent mnemonic device and one that I will have to use going forward.
Chaos Hades using a vampire and actually is going to get a counter nuke from that. That is a spell. Not sure if that's something he really wanted to have happen. But nope, he is up to 3 Zerkers. And Syl is going over to get that that last objective and that bit of FF7 music. And that is Sylverfyre with their 4th objective down. They have their crystal, and they have the pass to get to Zeromus that much faster, but we are already seeing rocks fall on Chaos Hades' side.
Yep, this is going to be over very shortly. Syl is on their way over to Troya right now with that pass in hand, with that crystal in pocket. And if Chaos Hades were to wipe here, which does not look to be the case with that Cure 4 coming out right away, the Rudders are back to being neck and neck. Because the difference right now is effectively the length of this Zeromus fight.
And that will do it. That is the flash and the bang boom. Chaos Hades takes this race with an official time of 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 37 seconds. So finishing up just as Sylverfyre makes it to their Zeromus fight.
Yep. And we'll see if we can't get Chaos Hades in here shortly for an interview.
Yep, looks like we are joined by Chaos Hades, if you can hear us. GG.
Thank you, thank you.
So, you went so long without going to the underground. I want to hear the train of thought that led to going up to the moon, or nearly full clearing it, before doing any of that subterranean work?
I think I did it only by pure luck, or maybe because all the practice seed I did was always at the moon, so I didn't believe it was underworld, but there was still one important key item in the underworld, but not all of them.
Yeah, I mean, we're just now going to get the scroll back on the item, so we don't know where the legend sword was, but yeah, you had to go through not just the underworld, but through Sealed Cave to get that harp.
Yeah, it's Lali-Ho League, so I thought that Lukaki should be useful.
And it seemed like you were pretty comfortable with that party composition, even before finding that Fusoya. When you saw that was an objective, was that someone that like, okay, the moment I get them, I'm keeping them pretty much no matter what? Or were you worried that you weren't going to need them by the time you actually found them?
I thought about it much when I saw him at the package all the time. For the animation, I was thinking, should I trade him for Porum or not? I nearly kept Porum, but I thought Fusoya has more life, more HP, so I thought maybe it would be more useful than Porum with 1030 1300s. I think.
Mm-hmm.
It was only for the HP.
Well, I mean, it did seem to help. You're getting good use out of them throughout the latter half of the seed.
Yeah, he helped me a lot because I nearly struggled during the Meteo phase, and I had problem calculating the remaining damage I had to do. So I just chained the nuke and hope it would kill Zeromus, but it wasn't enough. So I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I was seeing you were throwing vampires around. Was that trying to bait a counter nuke on somebody, or?
I wanted to nerf the Big Bang, but I think I miscalculated too. So it bounced back on Rosa, so I nearly lost her, but it was okay finally. But
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it got you through the fight and got you a win in this match. So at this point, you are now sitting 2-0 in the Swiss rounds. How are you feeling about your position in the tournament thus far and your performance?
it will be more stressful for the next ones. I think it's my first because I had not a buy in the first week, but sadly my race partner for the first one had to forfeit because of. Shout out to him because he has some things to solve. So, but yeah, for the next ones, I will need to practice a lot. I think I have a lot of all practices I did was above 2 hours, something like that. So I always did bad decisions. So I hope I'll be able to do better decisions the next.
And just to interrupt really quickly, while we were talking, Syl has finished their fan service fight, finishing with an official time of 1 hour, 36 minutes, and 18 seconds.
Yeah, I was going really fast there, and then I just didn't get any lucky breaks, apparently.
Yeah, both of you were fairly neck and neck, following effectively the same routing the entire time until you came down from the moon, where you still...
I've heard that I didn't skip Cave Bahamut versus Chaos Hades skipping it.
Yep.
And then I also did KQ Fey March, which felt like a mistake at this point.
On the one hand, the Fey March check did not pay off. On the other hand, if either Valvalis or Golbez or any of the pan checks had been the Legend Sword, that would have saved you the time.
Yeah, or or the Twin Harp. Like at that point, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I've got 2 key items. Like I've unlocked all of the character slots, so like once I know I can find Fu if I'm, if I have one more item to go mode. So like
Yeah.
that's the only reason I was like kind of slacking on my package check, because it's like, okay, whatever. Fu's going to be in a character slot. I don't really care which one.
Yeah, we were saying a lot throughout, especially the second half of this seed, that this was this was about routing decisions, and at this point, no decision that either of you made on that front was wrong. It just one of them turned out to be
pretty
correct
much.
for this particular seed. So
I feel like, in retrospect, I feel like my choice to do Fey March, even though I had the power to like push through those like reasonably fast, like a reasonably fast Golbez fight is still slow.
Agreed. I think
A reasonably,
probably would've
likewise, a
picked that
reasonably
fight.
fast Valvalis fight is still slow.
Mhm.
So like, I don't like. There's pretty much no way I could have done those fights faster. But they're still slow fights. I should have skipped them.
that's the sort that you can only know after the fact, though. If
Well,
that was a key item, then you should have done them. You know.
No, that's the thing, is like, even if that was a key item, I feel like that's an incorrect like time to chance of key item investment.
That's fair. But more importantly, now that we have you here, I want to talk about something that happened much earlier in the seed.
What's that?
What pulled you to the moon as fast as it did?
I had a mute knife and edge. I had some sirens. You saw what I did with that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's all you needed.
Lock, like, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna get to like level 38, get Cure 4 on Rosa, and
Right up
then
the rest
like
of the moon.
slam on the gas. It's like I've got a pair of ninja swords, an Artemis bow for Sid, and an Avenger sword, and like, and I, it's like I always immediately check the moon character, and it's Kanan. It's like I've got his ultimate weapon, the Avenger sword, not the White Spear. I had that too, but the Avenger sword is his actual ultimate weapon.
It really is.
Yeah, you'll get no argument here.
And so it's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do the Warlock grind. And then I'm already down here, so I'm gonna kill the bosses, because at this point, like, I've got the power. It's not like I spent, like, yeah, there's something to be said for having 10 key items doubling your XP, but like, when you're doing it so early, the levels like, the speed that you get from having the levels earlier compounds.
Yeah, definitely true. Definitely a good nudge in that direction then.
Yeah. So I guess at this point, any last minute thoughts from either of our runners tonight on this frankly fantastically fought seed?
Not on my hand.
To back up my own point about like why I should have skipped Fey March, it took me 10 minutes to kill all 5 moon bosses. It took me 9 minutes to kill 2 Fey March bosses.
Well, I can't argue with math. I've tried. I can't do it. So
I'm sad.
But at this point, unfortunately, our time here on Randomania, thank you once again to the Randomania family of networks for hosting the Lali-Ho League. Our time here on Randomania 1 is rapidly coming to a close. We are going to go on back over to the Free Enterprise channel for yet another Lali-Ho League race. We have Locke versus Sheep Launcher. Please, 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 please do not spoil anything about this race. for folks over there who want to watch this one later.
Yeah, and they are going to want to watch this one later. But as we're sending y'all over, I just want to shout out Alizel for the restream, Xenocat for the tracking. Thank you both again, and thank you to my co-commentator, Leggy Starscream. And thank you to Chaos Hades and Sylverfyre, our runners, for putting on a wonderful show.
Alright, I'm gonna go die to savage bosses in Final Fantasy 14 now.
Fun.
Have a good night, everybody, and enjoy more of the racing over at Free Enterprise.